Today, we're diving into an incredible story about science, a dramatic patent battle, and a mango. We're going to explore how one deceptively simple discovery didn't just help a few farmers, it literally transformed an entire nation's economy.
Just think about that for a second. What if one simple spray could completely reshape a country's future? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But this is the true story of what happened in the Philippines, and it's all thanks to the humble mango. But before we get to the breakthrough, we have to understand the huge hurdle that stood in the way. For generations, farmers were stuck with what you could call the great mango problem. I mean, let's be real, who doesn't love mangoes? They're one of the most beloved tropical fruits on the planet. But here's the thing most of us don't think about. Actually growing them on a commercial scale was an absolute nightmare. So here's the deal. On one hand, you have the natural state of the mango tree. It's super seasonal, only giving fruit for maybe 1 month a year. And even then, the harvests were a total crapshoot. You can't build a real industry on that kind of guesswork. The goal, of course, was the complete opposite, getting fruit reliably all year round. The big question was, how on earth do you convince a tree to totally change its behavior?
Well, this is exactly the kind of puzzle that gets a dedicated scientist fired up. It was going to take a brilliant mind to solve a problem that had stumped farmers for centuries.
For a long, long time, the only trick farmers had was something called smudging. They would literally build smoky fires under the trees, trying to force them to flower. As you can imagine, it was tedious, super expensive, and honestly not very reliable. People later figured out it was the ethylene gas in the smoke doing the work, but trying to spray a gas over huge orchards? Yeah, that was a non-starter. And this is where our hero, Dr. Ramon Barba, steps onto the scene. He was a Filipino horticulturist who had been obsessed with this problem since he was a student. He knew smudging was a dead end and was absolutely determined to find a simple, chemical solution that any farmer, no matter how small, could actually afford and use. That singular focus, that obsession, it led him to a moment of pure genius and a breakthrough spray that was about to change everything. You can just feel the shock and awe in Dr. Barba's own words. Looking back on that moment of discovery, he said, "I had never seen such a surprising response. It was unprecedented." Wow. That's it, isn't it? That's the sound of a scientist realizing they've just hit on something huge.
So what was this miracle formula? You might be thinking it was some complex, expensive compound. Nope. The beauty of it was its incredible simplicity. He found that just mixing potassium nitrate, a really common chemical salt, with water and spraying it on a tree one time was all it took. That's it. Within a week, the trees would just burst into flower. It was that easy. And the results? They were staggering. A single spray could double or even triple a tree's harvest. Just like that, the biggest barrier, the seasonality problem, was completely shattered. Okay, so science saves the day, right? Story over? Not so fast. Just as this discovery was about to change the world, the story takes a sudden, dramatic turn. An unexpected threat popped up that could have derailed the whole thing. Dr. Barba's first instinct was pure generosity. He wanted to share this with farmers immediately, for free. But then he got word that somebody else was trying to file a patent for his exact method. His reaction was just pure shock and disbelief. But how can this be? I discovered it. How can this be patented by someone else? You see, in his passion to help people, Dr. Barba had completely overlooked the business and legal side of things. He was so focused on the science, he simply forgot to protect his own discovery. That generosity almost cost him his entire life's work. So this kicked off a frantic legal battle. It was a real race against time. But Dr. Barba had a secret weapon, his meticulous lab records. Every experiment, every result, all carefully documented. They were the undeniable proof he needed to challenge the other claim. And in the end, after a tough fight, the Philippine Patent Office sided with him. He got the patent. A massive victory, but man, what a close call. So,
With his discovery now safely protected, Dr. Barba made sure it was shared far and wide. And the result wasn't just a win for him. It was the beginning of a total transformation for his country. I mean, just look at this. The change was so clear, so dramatic. Before his work was widely adopted around 1974, the mango was sort of a neglected crop. But afterward, the industry just exploded. The mango became a true cornerstone of Philippine agriculture. And think about the huge ripple effect here. This wasn't just good for the farm owners. Suddenly, you needed way more harvesters to pick the fruit, more packers, more truck drivers to transport it. It created a boom for companies selling fertilizers, and even for local craftspeople making baskets. The whole economy got a lift. And what about today? The Philippines now churns out around 900,000 tons of mangoes every single year. That is a massive number, and it makes them one of the top producers in the world. And you can trace all of that back to one simple spray. For Dr. Barba, this was the ultimate payoff. He summed it up perfectly himself, saying, "One technology that has a positive impact on agriculture is enough to justify a lifetime of research." That just says it all, doesn't it? It's the core hope of every scientist, to make one real, tangible difference in the world. Dr. Barba's story is just an amazing reminder that sometimes the most elegant solution can truly change the world. But it's also a powerful cautionary tale, isn't it? A brilliant idea is vulnerable if it isn't protected. And it kind of makes you wonder, what other simple, world-changing solutions are out there right now, just waiting for someone to discover them, and to make sure they're safeguarded for everyone?